Welcome to CEO Check-In. My guest today is going to be Carrie Kerpen. I can't wait to have her on from Likeable Media. They are a boutique digital agency here in New York that just got bought by 10 Pearls. I'm so excited for Carrie and can't wait to hear about that experience from her. She and I go back a very long way, so we have lots to talk about. I know we're going to run out of time. Hi, Bianca. Hi, Nabi. Thank you for joining us, or Nabi Organics. Hey, Evans, Amy. That's Amy Evans. Great to see you guys. So yeah, we're going to have a great show today. Carrie Kerpen has always been a huge champion of women in business. She wrote the book Work It, which is all about how women get ahead in the business world. I was profiled in here, honored to be in her book. And she has a really cool podcast called All the Social Ladies you might check out about women working in social media. And she runs Likeable Media, which is a fantastic social media agency based right here in New York City that was recently acquired by 10 Pearls. And I'm so excited for her to share some of that story with us. And Carrie's already here. Awesome. Can't wait to bring you on, Carrie. I'm going to just do my Go Big tip and then we'll bring on Carrie. So the Go Big tip today is know your exit strategy. This means when you're building and scaling your business, already be thinking about, how do I want to exit this business? Do I want to get acquired? Do I want to go public and have an IPO? Am I looking to merge with a bigger business in my industry? Knowing what your end game is so important. It might determine things like, should I raise money? Am I going after revenue or eyeballs? All kinds of important strategic decisions. Know your exit strategy. And this is something Carrie Kerpen is very good at. We're going to hear from her about that in a moment. But I will also share from a personal standpoint that raising angel and venture capital really helped me to think about that for my prior company, Little Pim, and now at $1 Million Women. It's a question we often ask as well. So if you haven't thought about that yet for your company, what is my exit strategy? Maybe it's going to be selling to your employees. Maybe it's handing off the business to your children. There are many different options, but you'll make different strategic decisions depending what your exit strategy is. And if you need some help with that, reach out to us at $1 Million Women. You can just go right to the link tree in my bio and set up a call with us. All right, without further ado, I want to bring Carrie on because I know we're going to run out of time. Carrie is the CEO of Likeable Media. She is a huge champion of women in business and trying to close the gender gap. She's been working on gender equity for years. She's also a former keynoter of the $1 Million Women Summit and a great friend, an amazing mom and wife to Dave Kerpen, also a friend. And I just couldn't be more delighted to have you on. So, Carrie Kerpen, we're actually bringing on speakers from prior summits for the next few weeks. So look out for Carleen Bobrun and a couple other folks. There's Carrie.
Hi.
So good to see you.
I'm so happy to be here with you. And I'm just so in awe of what you've built with $1 Million Women. And I'm so happy to even be anywhere in your orbit.
Oh, sweetheart, you've been such a huge supporter right from the beginning of any woman who comes in your orbit, by the way, not just me, but I specifically benefited from all your cheerleading from the very early days. We've known each other, like 8 or 9 years now? It feels like several lifetimes ago.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've probably known each other since Dave joined EO. I mean, that was forever ago, and that transformed
That's a good point.
His whole journey. And
that's right. So I met Dave before I met you, and then we were in Forum together. We had all those fun trips and just incredible bonding times. Those were some of my favorite times. And then I remember when you decided to have Seth, and it was so amazing. Remember we were in your office and planning out your future.
Yeah, you helped me decide, that was a really interesting time when, we were growing, Dave and I were growing that business, and it was really busy and tough and hard. And we also wanted a third kid. And so you helped me work through how to make that happen and have that balance in my life that I so desperately needed. And I'm forever grateful to you for that.
Oh, sweetie, I love seeing Seth whenever I see the posts of him. I can't wait to come give him a hug myself. But, it's also a good reminder why we need other, powerful women in business in our networks, right? Because you and I both have so many awesome male entrepreneur friends, but that conversation of how do I grow my business and have my third child? Sometimes you need your sisters, right?
I don't think I could have had that conversation with a man, and I don't think it would have been a comfortable conversation. And so I really remember you coaching me through that, and just how thrilled I am that he's here. I mean, I couldn't have imagined anything different.
Well, listen, I am just so excited that I get to have you on when you just sold your company to 10 Pearls. You know, this was such
The
a
timing.
big, beautiful vision of yours for a long time. And I don't know if you heard
Yeah,
my Go Big tip today was all
I
about
did.
know your exit strategy, right? And I thought of you because
Yep.
I was like, Carrie always had her eyes on the prize, right? Some people
Yeah.
are just kind of like getting up every day. Well, I'm building. I don't need to think about the end game, but that was not you. So maybe we could start at the end and then work our way backwards, if that's all right. Will you talk a little bit about the decision to sell the company and how that's feeling? That's got to be huge.
Perfect. So we made the decision to sell to 10 Pearls. 10 Pearls is a digital transformation company that helps businesses reimagine themselves digitally. All of these companies, their transformation has been accelerated by the pandemic. Clearly, like if you weren't digital before, you have to be digital now. And so they're really a technology company, and I'm thrilled to partner with them both because I think that technology is complementary to social media. But I also think that their commitment to gender equity and the values that they stand for are quite similar. And so I
Well, and
really,
I saw in a little interview you gave that they have a lot of female engineers working with them, right? Which is kind of
oh
unusual.
my
Tell us about
gosh,
that.
a third of their engineering staff in Pakistan are women, and they have a commitment to being
Amazing.
50% women by 2025. That's
Oh,
insane. And so
I love
for
that.
me, it was right. And it's founded by two men. So that's the other thing that I want to bring up too, is that it's not only always that we have to fight for each other as women. There are men out there who believe that this is necessary to grow and believe that it's necessary to evolve. And so I'm so pleased to have found a
What a great
partner that
partner for
is,
you. That is so
yeah,
perfect. Yes. And
yeah,
then
it
actually to
worked.
pick up on
It
what you're saying
worked.
about the men, we have so many men supporting us at Million Dollar Women, including John Toda and Vern Harnish and Nkrumah Pierre on our board, right? Right at the center of what we do. So 100%. And Dave Kerpen, of
Absolutely.
course, has always been a huge advocate of women in business and such
Huge.
a big supporter of yours as you were growing likable. So maybe now
Absolutely.
we
And he
back
just
up.
launched,
So yeah,
you know,
let's just back up because we want to hear like how you
okay.
got here.
I'm ready. How we got here. So from the beginning of time.
Well, you can pick it
My
up
husband
wherever
and
you
I.
want. Like we
Yep.
can talk for 5 hours, you and I. So I think,
You,
I
of
think what
course.
people are
But
probably really interested in is like, how was the agency founded, right? Did you
yep.
know right from the beginning, like, yeah, we're going to
Yep.
sell this one day, since that's a bit the
Yep.
theme du jour. And
Yep.
then how did you take it to here? Like, and how
Yep.
long did it take, right?
You got it. You got it.
Awesome. Thanks, Dave.
So, the company was founded on our wedding day. I mean, my husband wanted to, at the time, my fiance wanted to get married and have a larger than life wedding. I had an epic failure of a very quick marriage that I spent a ton on a wedding and then was like, oh my God, this isn't going to work. And so I knew we couldn't fund the type of wedding he wanted, but I wanted him to have the wedding of his dreams. And necessity is the mother of invention. We both loved baseball. And so we were both marketers. We pitched a minor league baseball stadium, an affiliate of the Mets, for us to get married on the field after the game and sell in sponsors that would, in between innings, have promotions, and they would generate money for charity. And our wedding would get paid for in the process. And we did it. It had
Which
a
is a
lot of
crazy
press.
idea, unless
Was
you know Carrie and Dave, in which case it seems totally normal because you guys do stuff
But
like
it's
that.
also like, that's the thing with big ideas. Like, just go for them. I mean,
Go
that's
for
what
it.
I
Why
learned
not?
from
Yeah.
that. And that's what Dave has pushed me to do through so much of my life. I always say, like, I'll come up with something and then I'll be like, never mind. And he pushes me to go. So I'm so grateful to him for that. And so once we got all of this press for that, all of the sponsors were like, we believe in you, do something. And so we started a word of mouth marketing agency with no money. I think we had
What year was this,
$10,000 in the
Carrie?
bank.
Because this is like you were like early on the scene here.
Early. Yeah, word of mouth. Social media wasn't even there. So that was like 2006. And then 2007, Facebook opened beyond the college market. And that's when we knew that we were in for something big. We started to grow very quickly. And that was very scary. We were like consultants. I'm sure Dave was less scared than I was, but I can tell you, for me, as somebody who was in the stage of having children and running a business, like when growth hits you and you don't expect it, you have to catch your breath for a second. And so,
And you
so
also
we
get nervous, like the
grew.
wheels are going to come off the bus, right?
Oh,
While you're doing all that.
yes,
Totally.
yes. And also, I had never run a business. I had no idea what I was doing. Dave had never run a business. We had no idea. I was a salesperson and he was a teacher. So it was just sort of like, oh my God, we have to learn by doing. And we did. And then, you know, a critical thing tying to what you're looking to do, we read a book by John Warlow called Built to Sell. So at this point, we have 20 employees, something like that, and we've grown. And when we read Built to Sell, it was all about structuring your company for exit, even if you don't plan on exiting right away, which is about, and I know you talk about this a lot, like how to remove yourself from being essential, you know, and really running it as a more of a productized. And so as a services business, it's hard to be a productized kind of business because what you're selling is the people, their expertise in social media, all of the stuff.
And there's always a temptation to think, well, I have to be the one. I just remembered I quoted you in my book in $1 Million Women because you had this great quote where you said, I thought I had the magic dust that everybody needed, but it turns out, no, I could teach other people to do this.
And it's abandoning the ego. You know, there's something delicious about feeling it's your business. It's only you can do it. You're so magical. And
right. They have to have you at every meeting. You have to be at the sale, at the kickoff, at the check-in.
Right. And there's the acknowledgement that there's the part of you that loves that. There's a part of all who wouldn't love being essential, but it is only when we decide that we are less essential and we make ourselves less essential that we are actually truly free. So we had read Built to Sell. Dave was running the business, and then Dave started a software company and a few other companies. He's a serial entrepreneur, goes for the gold. And I was like, okay, I'm going to run Likeable Media, and I'm going to grow it the way I would grow it, which is methodically, carefully, protecting the staff, protecting all of us, you know,
and I would add, knowing you at that time, huge attention to culture. I remember you were one of the first people I knew who made like a deck about what is the culture at Likeable that you would show every potential employee. I remember that.
Absolutely. And that's when so after we did that and focused on that, we won the 6th best place to work in New York City.
Yes,
and we started getting a lot of
best
attention.
Place. Wait, you're too humble, so I'm going to slow down here. So, Likeable won the best place to work in New York City on the Crane's list. Very coveted. I mean, number 6. I mean, that's like super, super high.
Number
you were
6.
not like a huge agency, right? You were probably 20 people at that time.
No, and there were hundreds of people on that list, just to put it in perspective. And and we had won a few years, like we would get like number 28. But the minute we hit 6, and I felt so accomplished in that moment because that was like when I was running it, and that's where I wanted to focus, was being able to be profitable, but also have a good culture. Yes. And so when I was looking for an acquirer, I was kind of looking for the same thing. Like we had decided, ultimately Dave and I decided together that Likeable could do more as part of something bigger, because I grew it very steadily. We were growing every year and I would grow it steadily. But at a certain point, I wanted to take some of my own personal risk off the table. Just that like, I was ready to be a part of something bigger. I felt that social media, we did social media only still to this day. I felt that we wanted to offer our customers and clients more. And we felt
ready. And you probably want to grow as a person, right? It's like you've been dealing with the same set of problems for like 8 or 9 years now. It's time for a new set of problems.
Yes. And Julia, I can talk to you about that all day. I mean, so when
we'll have to go out to lunch and continue that.
Oh, that's lunch.
That's important.
Lunch. But when we decided we wanted to be acquired, we put ourselves out there and we got a ton of offers. This is what was very interesting. So we put ourselves out there. We packaged ourselves. We got a ton of interest from very sexy agencies, consulting firms, et cetera. And ultimately, the decision came down to picking a company whose values aligned with ours. And
knowing you, I'm not shocked by that. And did that limit the pool a lot, or how did that affect?
Yes.
It did.
Yes. I think to me, there was only one answer there, that I felt like, wow, this is a partner. And it's not, listen, we had a great exit. I don't want to skirt around that. Dave never wants me to skirt around the fact that it was a great exit.
Congratulations.
So of course they paid. Thank you. But it's also
and they get you. So I mean, that's
they
like
get me.
That's like worth gazillions right there, right? Because you're not CMO of like this 750 person company.
Yes.
So that's pretty
but
cool.
I'm still running Likeable. So that's what's interesting. So I picked somebody that had that. Once Dave and I decided we're going to go with this values-based company, that's great. We had lots of other very sexy things. We could have gone to like very, holding companies that everyone knew. We could have gone to a name. Most of you haven't heard of 10 Pearls, but I will tell you, you will. That's how I feel.
Well, now that you're part of the team, we know we will.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Well, it's so exciting. And what you said about trying something new, this is interesting as an entrepreneur, and I bet your audience will like this. Like, I loved building a company on my own, and I loved having fellow entrepreneurs that I could commiserate with, like a forum, like really that understands.
Right. We were both part of EO for many years.
Oh,
right?
For years. And you guys have your master classes, which are so amazing. And at a certain point, I just felt ready to be a part of something where I had peers within my organization too. And so what I would say is that cherish the time where it's just you, and dream of the day where you have people surrounding you that are at your level, that you have come to this moment and you can celebrate. I mean, to me, that is
great advice
right now.
I love that, because it's true that when you're the boss, often you're a little isolated, right? You have camaraderie with your team, but you can't really be like good friends with them, because at the end of the day, you have to protect the company. And sometimes that means making decisions that people don't love or whatever. Plus, just the ideation, right? Like, now you're going to get to ideate with all these other people.
Absolutely.
So
and I missed Dave. Dave and I had run it together. So it was partners. So if you have a partner, that's really great. But when you're totally on your own, that's hard. And so I felt like, wow, I could really like reinvigorate my career and have a great exit, make a great outcome from this. And so 100%. For me, that's what went into it for me. And that's why I would encourage your audience to really think about your exit even before you want to. Oh, that's my other tip, Julia. I forgot. Yes. I have this tip for you. Okay. So we sold before I was done. And I think that's really important.
What does that mean?
It means I'm very much in it. A lot of times when you sell, you're ready to be done. You're ready for a next chapter. I didn't wait for that. And the reason is I wanted to make sure that I was fully invested in the company that I sold to, that I was there, that I was present, that I was excited. I think that's another reason to plan early, because if you wait too long, imagine if I was in the headspace like, I gotta get out. I wouldn't be
take the check and leave
for an acquirer.
Right? Right. Well, and I just want to point out for people who don't know, a lot of people who've exited, right? You and I have a lot of friends who've exited. Yes. Almost all of them have to actually stay 2 or 3 years to assure that transition. So that was so smart of you to not wait until you were like, oh, I'm done, right? You're excited to spend 2 or 3 years there. I don't know how long it's going to be, right? And then
I'm excited. It's at least 3, but honestly, I'm hoping that this is a great fit and we can do a lot more than that. And I can honestly say that. And that's because I didn't wait. It's like, did you ever hear the expression? You probably teach your women this in masterclass about don't apply for the worst time to apply for a line of credit is when you need one. The best time to apply is when you don't.
100%. Or around fundraising, right? The best way to get money is to ask for advice, and the best way to get advice is ask for money.
Exactly. So it's the same thing with exiting. Only exit not when you need to. Exit when you want to.
These are such incredible tips. And I just want to pause a minute. We have a lot of new people joining us. So welcome. This is CEO Check-In. We're talking with Carrie Kerpen, author of Work It. Podcast, all the social ladies, CEO of Likeable Media, just sold to 10 Pearls. We're so excited for you. And you were a keynote at the $1 Million Women's Summit. You've been community, so thank you. And I see that some of our inner circle people have joined us, like John Toda, who you know also from EO, who just sold his company. Congratulations, wonderful. John. I'm sure a lot of this is resonating, and who's on our board. And what I think people would really love to know, Carrie, is when you were in the early days, because we have a lot of people on this, watching who have a $500,000 company. They're gunning for $1 million. What should they be thinking about at this phase if they want to have your story, 5 to 10 years from now? What were you thinking about when it was smaller?
Okay, so I'm going to tell you that one of the things that benefited me was having a partner with big vision. I was always, and I want to be real with you, a very nervous Nelly about dreaming too big. I was very methodical, but what Dave pushed me to do was dream big. So he always had he thought 5 years out. So you want to either you think 5 years out or have that long vision, or you want to have a partner that helps encourage you to do that. For me, what was so brilliant about our partnership was he had this long-term vision. And then I was like, okay, what's each exact step to get there? So I would say, when you're starting out, identify who you are. Are you the visionary or are you the person who makes it happen? And find yourself a partner that helps support you in the other area. Because whether it doesn't have to be a formal business partner, it could be your first employee, it could be an intern, it could be whatever. But as you're starting, make sure that you don't have to be everything to everyone. Because I really think, and I say this all the time, and this is not like deferring to a man or anything like that. He pushed to go and dragged me operating, kicking and screaming. And then once he felt I had the tools and once I felt the confidence to be able to do it, I flew. But in the beginning, you need one visionary and one operator. And then I became the visionary and I had an operator within my company. And that's part of what it's about. Make sure you have somebody to support you on either side of the equation.
I love you spelling that out for us. Thank you. And that's very much what we teach in our community too, right? Is like have that 5-year plan, figure out how are you going to get there. And one thing I love about you, Carrie, is you have such a high degree of self-awareness. So like when we first met, you were able to articulate, hey, here are the things I'm nervous about. Here's where I feel like I'm good. And like you always knew you were great at social media, great at meetings, great at closing deals, right? But there were other things you were nervous about. And, I love that in our $1 Million Women community, we can kind of show up as we are, right? We don't have to pretend like, oh, I'm good at everything. No one's good at everything. So I want to just call out that is one of your superpowers, that you have like the confidence and the humility, right? The confidence to lead, but the humility to know, hey, where do I need help and who do I need around me to succeed? And like, that's part of why you've had this amazing exit. I'm just so excited for you.
Thank you. And I think the confidence, the thing that I want your audience to know is that the confidence takes work sometimes, and that's okay. And that's part of why I kind of spill my guts on any one of these interviews, because if you didn't see somebody like me questioning myself and dealing with that internal struggle, you might feel that you're alone. And for me, I've questioned myself throughout every ounce of the journey. And I felt like when we came to this moment, this was the moment where I was like, you know what? I'm going to fly. And it takes work, it takes time, and it takes practice. And I want you to give yourself, and I want your amazing audience to give yourself the permission to doubt yourself, acknowledge it, say, oh, that's an interesting feeling. Bye. And move on.
Right. Is that serving me? That's often what we talk about with mindset work, right? Like,
what does it do?
Shine a spotlight on it. Is it serving me? If it's not, find a way to get rid of it, right? Which I think you've been very good at.
Exactly.
I love that.
But acknowledging that it's there, there's no harm in that. There's no harm in that. And you should know we all have it. Julia has it. I have it. We talk about it
100%. Oh my God. I cried on your shoulders so many times. In fact, for people who read $1 Million Women, there's that famous scene where I'm crying on the couch and I'm like, there's only one person who can get me off this couch. And it was you.
It's
remember
funny.
I texted you? Do you remember that?
I can bring myself back to that. I know exactly where I was sitting. I remember everything about it. And I just, your vulnerability and your commitment to what you wanted to do long-term with your life was just astounding to me and such an inspiration.
Thank you, sweetie. I remember you were at that party, right? And I was like, I'm not coming. I'm not coming. You're like, yes, you are. You're coming. We're going to drink wine.
I remember.
Go wash your face.
I remember it well, my darling.
Thank you for that and all the ways you've been supportive. I want to just channel a little bit other things that I think women would want to know about, because you live such a full, rich life, and we know that takes a lot of juggling and managing and outsourcing. So let's talk a little bit about being, wife, devoted mom to 3 amazing kids, and congratulations on Charlotte getting into Boston University. So exciting.
Thank you.
What would you share about how you have made that work? You know, I don't love like work-life balance. We don't even talk about that. We're not gonna
It's
use that
funny.
term.
I
That
did a
doesn't exist.
live. I did a live this morning in a closed group with the co-founder of 10 Pearls, and I was like, "No one ever asks you this because you're a man, but tell me about your work-life balance." Because I
Good for
think
you. Good
truthfully,
for you.
we need to ask. We need to ask men those
Ask men
questions.
about that.
But
Absolutely. Yes.
okay, so let me just tell you, it's all very hard. It's all very hard. You want the tea? I'll give you the tea. It's hard, man. You know, you have to have what I would say is a deep love and commitment. I only spend time on things that I have a deep love and commitment for. I have a deep love and complete commitment to my husband. I have a deep love and complete commitment to my children. And I have a deep love and complete commitment to my career. And I'm unapologetic about that. And I think that's okay for us to be unapologetic about. I would say I also enjoy and I'm very happy that I have mastered an ability to tolerate fitness and to, you know, all of these other, and I love my friends, but ultimately I have to prioritize the things that are most important to me right now. I love Randy Zuckerberg's pick 3, understanding that you're never going to be fully balanced. You're always going to be sort of well lopsided. And one day you're pushing too hard into work. One day it's all family. One day it's all fitness and health. You know, I think the idea of a balanced life is flawed, and you just have to do the best you can and just know what you're committed to.
I
And
love
when you're
that.
committed
Yeah,
to those
passionate and
things,
committed. Is that the term you use? You said know what you're passionate and committed to.
yes.
I
Yes,
love that.
because
But wait, you
marriage.
told me a story though that I still remember about when you were trying to figure out how do I fit in time to work out, you know, and you and I are both huge outsourcers and delegators, right? Because you got 3 kids,
Yeah.
I've got 2 kids. Like if we
Yeah.
didn't outsource and delegate stuff, right, nothing would get done. But I remember when you were like, that's it. I am having the fitness mobile, or I can't remember what it was called. Roll up.
Oh
to
my
the
God,
house
the
in the morning.
Beyonce bus.
Tell us about that.
Okay, so first of all, I will say that was a temporary phase, but there was a bus. There was a bus that had gym equipment in it, and they used to
And it
drive up
rolled
to the
up in
house.
front of your house.
Like they would come to you. Big news! We have flowers at the door that I have to get. Apparently.
Oh, exciting! Take us with you. Take us
But
with
it's okay.
you.
You're
Fantastic.
coming to me for flowers. This is balance.
Yay.
Hold on. Thank you so much, my friend.
I guess word is getting out. Word is getting out about the sale, and everyone wants to celebrate with you.
So much.
Tomorrow we go with you.
Flowers. I'll look at who they're from after. But okay, so the Beyonce bus. So
They're beautiful.
Thank you.
Yes.
I used to call it the Beyonce bus because they would like drive up and I felt like a celebrity. I had to work out on the bus. The bus would come to me. But fitness is so hard. Like unless you're like somebody who loves this from the beginning of time, God, it's so hard to prioritize, you know? And I have like a real
Right, just to find the time. Oh, hey, Dave, and Dave Kerpen just joined us. Hi, Dave.
Oh, Dave, you missed me talking about you and how madly
She said
in love with
lots
you I am,
of good
how
things.
amazing you are for likable, and how I never could have done it without you. You'll have to watch it after.
Dave has been like a huge champion of actually all women entrepreneurs, you specifically, but has done so much for the community through EO and just being like so committed to gender equity.
Julia, did you hear about his fund? Have you heard?
No, tell us.
He launched together with me, but you know, right now I'm more of like a silent partner because I have to do the likable stuff, the temporal stuff. But we launched Kerpen Ventures, and Kerpen Ventures is going to invest in early seed stage. So this is really great for your $1 million women, in women and BIPOC and all social action stuff with a focus on Black women business owners and all like social action stuff. And that, like I said, actually this ties back to the beginning about men who care deeply about gender equity. I'm so thrilled. You know, it's not like I had to say to Dave, like, oh, hey, we got to do this. He came to me and said, we have to do this. And that is like just beyond what you could ever want in a partner, right? I mean, that's just, it's awesome.
And so perfect.
So
the two of you investing in companies together that will help, you know, level the playing field for entrepreneurs, which you've both always been committed to, and just be able to help more incredible entrepreneurs through your support. Absolutely. I love that. And I'm only going back to
Absolutely.
Beyonce bus because I like saying that, Beyonce bus, but also because
Beyonce bus.
for me, that was a symbolic moment that I just want to make sure everybody watching pays attention to, which is like, if Carrie Kerpen with 3 kids and a business, right, could somehow figure out how to fit in workouts, like sometimes it's just about getting really creative and being ready and willing and able to spend a little money and outsource, right? Because
Yes.
we don't hear this side enough from women that, you read about women, like, oh, I've got the kids, I've got the husband, I manage it all. Okay, but we also do some crazy shit to make it all work. Am I right?
Absolutely. And the other thing, Julia, I will tell you, like, I feel like in this past year, I've really nailed kind of fitness. And as you can see, it was the busiest year of my career, right? We had the
I know.
pandemic.
And you look amazing. I've been meaning to tell you, I've been watching you like getting so fit on Instagram, going like, yay, go Carrie.
Thank you. And but really, you know what it is? It's a commitment to 15 minutes a day. That's it. I do 15 minutes because I believe we have so much pressure on ourselves as women. Like, what am I, like, why do I have to, and I do feel it. I feel I have to look good to be able to do anything. I felt for myself, I had to look good to be able to exit. And so that's a lot of pressure. And so just giving yourself like a window, saying like, I'm going to take 15 minutes for myself and I'm going to do it. Small manageable increments for me. Also, same thing. I'm not going to beat the crap out of myself if I have more to go, like it's okay. But like, I'm going to try most of the time, fuel myself with food that helps me be energetic, that helps me, craft a better exit. That was a part of what I looked at.
I love that. That's super powerful. And I'm so happy that you're doing that because you look radiant and you also got a 3-year-old to keep up with, right? So there's that.
Well, he's 5 now, Julia. Time goes very fast. He's almost 6.
Oh my God. Is he like going into 1st grade next year?
He's next year's 1st grade.
Oh,
and the thing is, so I would say for that tip, it's just, keep things small and manageable, give yourself grace, but commit to taking care of yourself in whatever
100%.
way works for you.
Yes, that is so, so important. And, I also want to go back a minute to the question I asked a few minutes ago about, how did you prepare for this day, right? Because for women watching who are like, okay, well, that seems really far off from me exiting. So one thing you talked about was making sure to know what you're good at, right? Like you were like, I'm not the big 5-year visionary person, but I'm really good at making this all happen. Although you then became the visionary person. You also, I remembered, made some really important strategic decisions. And I wonder if this was with the exit in mind, about delivering your services in a very new and unusual way for your field. Will you talk about that, or for your industry rather?
Yeah, you got it. As I told you, we read Built to Sell was like a big light bulb moment for us. And so what we decided to do, we offer content for social media. We said, okay, we're going to reinvent how people charge for that, because the idea that, in 1 minute, like a highly produced video is social media content. In the next minute, we're just doing an Instagram live where we're just having a chat. And the next minute, you have to learn how to do a TikTok. So what I wanted to do was come up with a process for pricing by deliverable so that as social media changed, we could change with it. That helped us productize. That helped us have a scalable opportunity to grow. And it ultimately helped us a lot in exit because it differentiated us. Nobody was doing it. So we had something called the content credit system.
Yeah. Oh, the content credit system. That's what it was called. I love that. And I think the takeaway there for people listening is like, if you've done a little research around what's going to help me to exit, right? Maybe you need to look at how can I be different than the other people in my industry, or how can I come up with a way of charging where I have higher margins or something like that.
Correct. And also, never underestimate the importance of focus. So in Built to Sell, they tell the story of this agency that was like running themselves ragged. The guy was driving himself nuts and he was exhausted and ready to sell, right? It was like done. And they said, your business is basically worth nothing because it's all you and you're very distracted. And he ended up focusing on just logo development. And by just scaling logo development with the sales team, et cetera, he was able to exit for much more. For us, our focus stayed very, very rooted in social media. I could have expanded anytime after Dave left. I could have said, okay, we're going to be a PR company. We're going to be a this, that, the other. And, but we didn't. We stayed very, very focused. And that focus served us well. So I would say never underestimate the power of focus and use that to your advantage in an exit.
And that's such an important lesson. So when you were exiting, was there a conversation at some point where they were like, well, what we love about you is that you're an expert in this, because that's the missing piece for us. Like,
yes.
How did that pay off? Help us understand.
Okay, so here's what they loved about us, and I'm sure they can speak to this, but I'll tell you from my perspective what I thought they loved about us. I thought they loved the deep expertise and focus in social media. I thought they loved the unique and innovative method for controlling margin with the content credit system. And I think they loved that the company was not rooted entirely in its founders. You know, Dave had fully exited, which was amazing. You know, they were able to get all of the benefit of his wisdom without he didn't have to be a part of the company to have his legacy fulfilled. And for me, I was really focused on just leadership at that point. So they felt like there was a team that could do it. So it was making sure that we had a differentiated model that was based on pricing, you know, that was unique, able to control margin. It was an intense focus, and it was not being so founder dependent that it couldn't work without us, if that makes sense.
Well, wow. And that's a template right there, right? That's a template right there for what to
Yep.
do with your company for anybody
Yep.
watching, right? And because
Yep.
having those systems and processes, having the amazing team, making sure that you're doing something differentiated, all these things Carrie is describing is what would make any agency attractive. And I also want to recognize that this is a services agency. Like we so often hear, oh, you can't scale a services business, which, you know, we say push out of that in $1 Million Women. Every year at the summit, we teach how to scale your services business. And I cite you a lot. I'm like, Carrie has scaled this to being a multi-million-dollar business. It can be done.
And, you know, I have to tell you with that, I think you're absolutely right. And I will tell you, I was one of the people who felt that I couldn't scale a services business. I had to grow into that. And one of the ways was sort of reframing how we thought about content. And Dave and I both felt very strongly that content as a service was a way to think about our services business. And that little mind shift, like do what you need to do to get the negative voices out. So on one side of my head, it's, you're an agency, you can never scale. There's no, what do you need sales for? You can't do that. And on the other side, it's, we offer content as a service, and we are, you know, the next big thing, and we're going to scale this. And you have to believe your own vision. It only works if you believe it. So it has to be clear to you. And I believe that sincerity and belief that helped us be able to craft this type of exit.
Well, and to write your own story, right? That's part of what we're all doing when we do the mindset work. It's not some woo thing. It's figuring out, hey, what do I want my story to be, and owning it. And you're reminding me, like when I built Little Pim, at first we were just like a product company, right? We made DVDs that we sold to people and plush pandas and that kind of thing. But when I went out to raise venture capital, I realized, wait a minute, there's a much bigger play here. We're an ed tech company, right? An educational technology company. And that wound up being the space we played in. But just like you said, there had to be that mindset shift, right? Of like, okay,
it's
no,
the
I'm playing
mindset
over
shift.
here.
And you did that so brilliantly. When you went out, what you were able to do for that company and raise those funds is unbelievable. And all of your followers should take a play from that book. You believed in the vision of what you were doing, and you went out and you sold it, despite what you might have been feeling behind the scenes. And that's how I feel. I feel like I have to acknowledge when I'm afraid. I have to acknowledge that I have my own doubts, and I have to allow that in and then out the door. And the only thing you can do, the people who succeed are the people who believe their own story and the positive story that they want to tell. Otherwise, who else is going to believe in you? Who else is? I spent so much time not believing in myself. I listened only if Dave believed in me. I believed in myself. Now
I believed in you from day one.
Did.
I believed in you.
But it was
But you're a
about
rock star,
believing
but
in
we don't
yourself.
always see it about ourselves, right? We really don't.
Yep.
And when you used to get up at our forum meetings and talk about all these things you were nervous about, we were all like, she'll be fine. Right?
I know,
like,
but you have to
feel that
believe
way.
it.
Yes.
You
Well, we
have
always
to
like to
believe
say in the
it.
$1 Million Women community, no one's going to believe in you more than you believe in you, right?
That's right. And nobody is going to help you overcome your own self-doubt other than you. Who
And
can do that
book.
for you?
And my new book.
Your book is going to help people realize what they need to do to overcome their doubt. Your book can give them the tools, but the only thing blocking them is them. And that's the thing. Is like, you know, you can get external validation all over the place, everywhere. Everyone could tell you you're amazing, but until you believe you're amazing, what the heck? I mean,
That is so true. That is so true. And you know,
but I cannot wait to read your book, by the way.
Thank you, honey. And thank you
wait.
for all the
I've already
support
read
on that journey. I know. And I'm so grateful. Yeah, we're talking about Go Big Now, my new book about the 8 essential mindset practices to overcome any obstacle and reach your goal, which I think Carrie is a poster child of having just done that. And, you know, I really am just getting the chills of how special it is that we get to be here celebrating your exit when so many years ago, it was something you talked about. You said, I'm building this agency so we can sell it. And here you are. I'm just so proud of you and happy I can share in this moment with you.
Thank you so much, Julia. I am so happy to be here with you. It's been a long journey, and we're really just, Dave and I are so excited and so proud, and I'm so happy to watch what he's able to do with this exit, what he does next, and I'm so excited to be a part of 10 Pearls. I really am. Like, it's crazy.
Well, I can't wait to see what you do
awesome.
there. So how can people follow you and stay in touch with you, Carrie? Where can people go to follow you?
Okay, so you can follow me on Carrie Kerpen. If you want to watch what Likeable does, I'm Carrie Kerpen everywhere. That's it. I'm not fancy. I have no fun names.
Easy,
but
easy
so
peasy.
Carrie Kerpen everywhere, easy peasy. And then if you want to follow Likeable to see what they do, or 10 Pearls. You know, 10 Pearls, I'm so excited. I can't wait. They have the most incredible story. All I want to do is help them articulate that, and they are going to be like a rocket ship. I'm so excited for them, and I can't wait. They're already so fast growing. They're already doing such amazing things. I can't wait to tell their story.
Well, I can't wait to see what you do there. They don't even know what hit them yet. So we're going to see what Carrie Kerpen's do to shake up the house here.
Woo-hoo!
And we're going to be all watching and cheering you on. And also, you know, hopefully you'll get more involved even in the $1 Million Women community now that you maybe can free up a tiny bit of time. We want you back. So please come help us grow the next $1 Million Women.
You bet. I can't wait. I love your commitment. And I'm so happy. As I said earlier, I'm so happy to be in your orbit.
Thank you so much, honey. Mwah. Thank you for coming
Love
on.
to the
Congratulations.
Kitties.
And we will now be able to have that lunch now that you've had your exit. Go open 100%. Those flowers.
Now we can do lunch. Exactly.
Bye, thank you for coming on. Have a great day. Congratulations. Talk soon. Wow, there were so many incredible learnings there. I just want to go back and like pick up all those truth bombs that she dropped about believing in yourself, even if you don't totally feel it, about overcoming the part of you that thinks you can't do it, and learning how to create a story that serves you best. And if you're not quite sure how to do that, do go pick up Go Big Now, my new book, because I have exercises exactly about that. We just got the workbook live on the site, so we're excited. There's a very robust workbook that goes with the book. But best of luck and success to Carrie. I know she's going to do amazing things at 10 Pearls and integrating Likeable into it. And if you have never thought about your exit strategy, I hope this gave you a lot of good food for thought about how you could be thinking about what would be of value when I exit, and how can I use Carrie's story to incentivize me to build those great systems and not be at the center of everything, and think about my margins and all the things that make you valuable to an acquirer. The book she talked about is John Warrillow's Built to Sell, which is on our reading list at $1 Million Women Masterclass. All right, we have to wrap up. I know we went late, but it was such a great conversation. Be sure to get your ticket for the $1 Million Women Summit. It's right around the corner, April 22nd and 23rd. We're going to have fantastic keynotes, panelists of women who built multi-million-dollar businesses just like Carrie, telling their stories and how you can do what they did, and industry workshops with real experts in every field that will help you scale, everything from marketing to negotiating to fundraising to efficiency. So grab your ticket at mdwsummit.org, and I will see you there. Thanks so much for being with me today. I will see you next week on CEO Check-In, when we continue to bring back on some of our keynotes and speakers from prior $1 Million Women Summits. Have an awesome day and believe in you. Stay brave and go.